Greetings, everybody. This is Lei Xiao, Leishou. I'm using that name in Chinese today because it means thunder hands. And I'm going to do a thing on the Tao today that I think you'll really like, because I was thinking about how it all started for me online was the Native American Taoist. And just a little story here. Those two philosophies go together better than bread and butter. I mean, Taoist philosophy is formed on nature, and so is Native American philosophy for the most part. So you put those two together, and it's like you have this amazing synthesis of where it's at, as far as I'm concerned. I had a lady write me a long time ago saying, "I'm so glad I found your Native American Taoist site because I thought I was nuts. I was asking my parents, can I believe in both things?" And they said, "I guess you can believe in anything you want." And she was looking at a calendar one day, she said, and was looking at a native, but she thought about the Taoist aspect, and she goes, "Well, I'm a Native American Taoist." So I said, "Don't feel bad. It's the best thing that could happen to you." She goes, "I'm so thankful for finding your site." But I really wanted to give you an introduction to the Tao today. And I was thinking about the best way to do that, and I guess the best way to do it would be by reading excerpts of chapters from the Tao Te Ching. And this is the book here, a book that is my constant companion and one that I refer to continually and should refer to even more often. This is Brian Brown Walker's version, which is the only version I'll use. I read other versions, but this is the one, because he speaks Chinese fluently and has done a study on the spiritual aspect of the Tao and all that and translated it. An American that lives in Boulder, Colorado. But what a great job. What a great book. Just real thin. It's only 81 chapters, the Tao Te Ching. And the Tao, T-A-O, for those who don't know, is pronounced Tao, as in, like there's a D in there. T-A-O, Tao. Taoist is T-A-O-I-S-T, Taoist. Now, I wanted to read, he does a much better job, because I'm going to read some excerpts out of this book, and so he does a better job of explaining certain things or giving you an intro than I could. So I'm going to read here. Bear with me if I make any mistakes. I hope you enjoy this, because this will be your introduction to the Tao, really. This is the most profound book on earth, in my opinion. The foreword. The Tao Te Ching of Lao Tzu is one of the most frequently translated, widely read, and deeply cherished books in the world. It is, to my mind, the wisest book ever written and one of the greatest gifts ever given to humankind. In the handful of pages that make up the Tao Te Ching, I believe that there is an answer to each of life's questions, a solution to every predicament, a balm for any wound. It is less a book than a living, breathing angel. I highly concur with that, a living, breathing angel. How wonderfully ironic that a book as profound and simple as this bears a title that is difficult to translate. The word Tao has no close equivalent in our language. The way is one translation. The way the universe works is another. Neither is wholly satisfactory. It is fitting that the word remains enigmatic, because the idea behind it is the essential enigma. We know that life and the universe have a source, but the nature and depth of that source lie beyond our ken or understanding. As for the rest of the title, Te may be translated as goodness, virtue, or nature. Ching means book, or sutra, or scripture. What do we end up with? The book of the good and natural way, Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu is no less an enigma. His name is generally translated as old sage or less often old boy. My personal translation would be something like ancient infant. Ancient infant, people. Think about that one. Which suggests the combination of wisdom and suppleness that his philosophy embodies. Now, the legend is Lao Tzu was keeper of the imperial archives in what is now China during the Zhou dynasty, some 2,600 years ago. During a period of chaos and disorder, he elected to leave civilization and go to live out his life alone in the mountains. Sound like anybody you know? As he approached the gate of the city, riding on the back of an ox, he was stopped by the gatekeeper. Learning of Lao Tzu's intention, the man begged him to leave some written expression of his wisdom for the benefit of others. And so the story goes, the Tao Te Ching came into being. Now here's another story that's a delightful story that's in wide circulation that was told by a guy named Witter Bynner in his book. Confucius, impressed by the Lao Tzu's influence on people, visited him once to ask him advice, ironically enough on points of ceremonial etiquette. Baffled by the answers of the older man, to whom etiquette meant hypocrisy and nonsense, Confucius returned to his disciples and told them, "Of birds I know that they have wings to fly with, of fish they have fins to swim with, of wild beasts that they have feet to run with. For feet there are traps, for fins nets, for wings arrows. But who knows how dragons surmount wind and cloud into heaven? This day I have seen Lao Tzu, and he is a dragon." I love that quote by Confucius on Lao Tzu. That Lao Tzu was a dragon is certain. Whether he was ever an actual lone man is doubtful. Historical evidence suggests otherwise. What is more likely is that the body of teachings, now known as the Tao Te Ching, was developed over a period of 200 or 300 years by 5 or 6 different sages. Some were most assuredly women. Certainly the teaching here is the gentlest and most motherly of all the world's great books on the art of living. In the end, it matters little who or what Lao Tzu was. As I write in my translation of the Huahu King, I have come to think of Lao Tzu less as a man who once lived and more as a song that plays, eternal and abiding. I love that introduction. There's more, but I think that's enough to give you an idea of the quality of this book. The Tao Te Ching. Again, Taote Ching. This is deep. It's one of the deepest books I've ever come across in my life. Now I want to read some excerpts from the book, and I'll start with chapter 1 because that kind of gives a foundation for it. Although it's kind of unfair to just read chapter 1 first and not go on to chapter 2, but I think I'll read chapter 1 anyway. Tao is beyond words and beyond understanding. Words may be used to speak of it, but they cannot contain it. Tao existed before words and names, before heaven and earth, before the 10,000 things. It is the unlimited father and mother of all limited things. Therefore, to see beyond boundaries to the subtle heart of things, dispense with names, with concepts, with expectations and ambitions and difference. Tao and its many manifestations arise from the same source, subtle wonder within mysterious darkness. This is the beginning of all understanding. Okay, so that's chapter 1. Now, as I was glancing through here today, there's some areas that really struck me, and I'm just going to thumb around in here and read different chapters just so you can get a flavor of this book. Chapter 10. Can you marry your spirit and body to oneness and never depart from it? Can you ride your breath until your entire being is as supple as the body of an infant? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see heaven in every direction? Can you love people and govern them without conniving and manipulating? Can you bear heaven's children in all that you do and are? Can you give the wisdom of your heart precedence over the learning in your head? Excuse me. Giving birth, nourishing life, shaping things without possessing them, serving without expectation of reward, leading without dominating. These are the profound virtues of nature and of nature's best beings. I love that one, and I love this one too, chapter 11. 30 spokes meet at a hollowed out hub. The wheel won't work without its hole. A vessel is molded from solid clay. Its inner emptiness makes it useful. To make a room, you have to cut doors and windows. Without openings, a place isn't livable. To make use of what is here, you must make use of what is not. Let me go over here and jump to a part that I really like. There's a series of pages in here that I find rather profound. And there's quotes in here that I use all the time that I find very useful. I like this one, chapter 27. A good runner leaves no tracks. A good speaker makes no slips. A good planner doesn't have to scheme. The best lock has no bolt, and no one can open it. The best knot uses no rope, and no one can untie it. Thus, the master is always good at saving people and doesn't abandon anyone. Always good at saving things and doesn't waste anything. This is known as following the light. What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's charge? It doesn't matter how smart you are if you don't have the sense to honor your teachers and cherish your responsibilities. This is an essential teaching of the Tao. Again, I'm going to let you people get out of this what you want. I'm not going to interpret it, except once in a while add some commentary maybe. Chapter 28 is a good one. Now this is the one that I use all the time. To know the masculine and yet cleave to the feminine is to be the womb for the world. Being the womb for the world, never departing from the eternal power of Tao. You become as an infant once again, immortal. To know the bright and yet hold to the dull is to be the example for the world. Being the example of the world, not deviating from the everlasting power of Tao, you return to the infinite once again, limitless. To know honor and yet keep to humility is to be the valley for the world. Being the valley for the world, rich with the primal power of Tao, you return once again to simplicity like uncarved wood. Allow Tao to carve you into a vessel for Tao. Then you can serve the world without mutilating it. I know some people that, excuse me, that could apply to. Let's go a little further on here. Chapter 29. If you try to grab hold of the world and do what you want with it, you won't succeed. The world is a vessel for spirit, and it wasn't made to be manipulated. Tamper with it and you'll spoil it. Hold it and you'll lose it. With Tao, sometimes you move ahead and sometimes you move back. Sometimes you work hard, sometimes you rest. Sometimes you're strong, sometimes you're weak. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. The sage remains sensitive, avoiding extremes, avoiding extravagance, avoiding excess. Chapter 30. Those who wish to use Tao to influence others don't rely on force or weapons or military strategies. Force rebounds. Weapons turn on their wielders. Battles are inevitably followed by famines. Just do what needs to be done and then stop. Attain your purpose, but don't press your advantage. Be resolute, but don't boast. Succeed, but don't crow. Accomplish, but don't overpower. Overdoing things invites decay, and this is against Tao. Whatever is against Tao soon ceases to be. Now this book here, at first, face value, at listening to some of these, you can't just listen to what I read here. This will never do as far as like understanding the Tao, listening to Thunder read it. You have to take every line that I read and pause the video and think about that one line or that one verse in the chapter. Because the first meaning you get from it isn't always what it's trying to tell you. Remember, the Tao is elusive. And it's dark and it's light. And so when you form some kind of concept of what it's talking about, you have to go and think about what it's really talking about. You have to go beyond the face value and dig deep, like for the gold nuggets. These are all gold nuggets. This book is something that has no dogma in it whatsoever, no religious teachings. In fact, it speaks on religiosity in here. I wonder if I can find that right offhand. I'd love to read that one. And that's the one at, when you read it at first blush or whatever, you might take it wrong. If I was supposed to find that, I'll find it right now. I'll look for it here just for a moment, and we'll see if I can find it. And yes, I did. So I guess it was meant to be, people. It's chapter 19. Excuse me. Now listen to this closely. 19. Chapter 19, Tao Te Ching. Give up religiosity and knowledge, and people will benefit 100-fold. Discard morality and righteousness, and people will return to natural love. Abandon shrewdness and profiteering, and there won't be any robbers or thieves. These are external matters, however. What is most important is what happens within. Look to what is pure. Look to what is simple. Let go of self-interest. Temper your desires. Here's another great one. I'll just continue just just for a second here. Chapter 20, be done with knowing and your worries will disappear. Be done with knowing and your worries will disappear. How much difference is there between yes and no? How much distinction between good and evil? Fearing what others fear, admiring what they admire? Nonsense. Conventional people are jolly and reckless, feasting on worldly things and carrying on as though every day were the beginning of spring. I alone remain uncommitted, like an infant who hasn't yet smiled. Lost, quietly drifting, unattached to ideas and places and things. Unattached to ideas, places, and things. Kind of like splatter vision. Seeing things in a different, with a different vision, with a different eye. So anyway, as you can see, I have a little bit different, a little more comfortable chair here. I demanded that they bring me in another chair. And I'm finally relaxed, and this is the backdrop for a while for Thunder. The red chair, rojo. Telling the maid I want a rojo, whatever. Camellia, I can't, whatever. I give these people such a hard time. As long as I'm here, I might as well get what I want, right? Okay, so Thunder's going to leave it there today, I guess. But I want you to think about Taoism and how well it fits with nature. And it talks a lot about nature, although I didn't read some of the things. I probably should have, but I don't want to make this video too long. It fits perfectly with the Native American philosophy. There's no what do you call it? Contradictions. It all fits rather well. So, you know, I thought I'd just go back to my roots here, the Native American Taoist. And I think we need to start thinking more in Taoist terms, because what's happening in the world right now, you can easily get enmeshed in, you can easily form opinions on, you can easily get caught up in, like I'm saying continually, and I get caught up in it too. But that's not the Taoist way. The Taoist way is way, way beyond getting caught up in emotional, mind-exciting bullshit, okay? And the Taoist way, according to the Tao, you know, it talked about good and evil. What's the difference between bad and wrong, morality? I mean, it's all, and I say that continually. I've said it in my own way. Yin and yang is two sides of the same coin. So in a sense, there is no good and evil. There can't be black without white and white without black. Dig it? Would this be white if this was not black? Would this be black if this was not white? Although this isn't really white and black, but you get my point. I'll leave it there today. There's the little introduction to the Tao, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy Thunder as always. I'll leave it there and let you people just think about this what you want and comment what you want. So that's the light going out telling me it's time to go. It's on a timer. I'm out of here. Thunder. Till next time.